We are currently facing a silver market anomaly. Silver demand outpaces supply with a flat silver price. The silver market is experiencing a supply deficit. That's the third year in a row now. But the price of silver remains flat. How is this possible? That is a good question we are going to be diving into in this video, giving more context and more support towards not only the silver shortage, but how this shortage will be affecting the price of silver in the coming years and why silver is so bullish. So they looked at the latest data shared by the Silver Institute. Their research reveals another silver supply shortage. The physical silver market is in a deficit for 3 years in a row, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of ounces in the red. The price of silver, however, remains consolidating. Who can spot the anomaly, or better, the opportunity? That is a good question. Not only are we experiencing a supply deficit, but we are also blessed with extremely cheap prices, so why not take advantage of this price suppression? As we see it live, and we know it is price suppression. We know silver is extremely undervalued, so why wouldn't we be buying this undervalued silver when we also know that in the coming years, the fundamentals, supply and demand, will outweigh any type of price suppression because of the critical role that silver plays to make the world literally go round as we try to go green for climate change and global warming, and not even just EVs. Another sector that is heavily overlooked, which plays a critical role, maybe even more critical than EVs, is military. We witnessed the Defense Department raid our own silver stockpiles, and rightfully so. Silver is used heavily in military. The United States is currently in 5 different wars. Silver is used in missiles, 500 ounces of silver in a single Tomahawk missile, about 200 ounces in the rest. So if we're talking about a massive silver shortage, but the United States needs boatloads of silver, pun intended, then you best know that they are going to find a way to get that silver. And I hope they do myself, even more so than just building an EV or a solar panel. So you can see how this situation is much more extreme and complex than it might seem on the surface. So anyways, let's keep moving on. The supply shortage is prevailing since a few years. We have the topic covered in many of our silver articles, like our most recent silver forecast, and also the silver supply shortage article mentioned above. We concluded, within the silver market dynamics, the looming silver shortage stands out as a ticking time bomb. Despite COMEX silver price setting, the law of supply and demand will eventually prevail. And that's what I was just saying. No matter how much corruption or price suppression they try to do, at the end of the day, the fundamentals will outweigh any type of suppression, especially if you're talking about COMEX suppression, which is trying to flood the market with paper contracts, saturating or oversaturating with the physical metal. And that's just one instance, not even talking about the gold to silver ratio or how out of whack that is, or the several other things we could go into. But there's something very, very important that you have to understand, is that silver's price suppression cannot hold for much longer. So people that say silver will never break above $50 again, they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're probably looking at it from the same angle as what makes gold so valuable, or gold's potential, not looking at how silver has a completely other reason beyond just CPI or inflation or the monetary side of precious metals. It's industrial, and that's where the true potential comes from. So anyways, let's keep moving on. As we approach a true silver supply shortage, the silver market's true potential awaits, ready to reshape the price setting dynamics and elevate silver to new heights. New heights. So let's revisit the latest data points and bring up 3 important considerations and implications for silver investors in 2024. Silver supply shortage continues, and it's going to continue. There is no fixing this. So the 7 takeaways from the last physical supply-demand situation in the silver market, which is the source. And let me also mention something extremely important. This is from investinghaven.com. This is not a strictly silver site or a source. They talk about AI stocks, silver stocks, energy stocks, crypto selections, talk about lithium, commodities. They talk about everything, but they are mentioning silver. They could have mentioned anything else, but silver is the one that makes the most sense, and that's why you see articles coming out from everyday news outlets that don't talk about silver much sometimes. So, number one is global silver demand to reach 1.2 billion ounces in 2024. The forecasted global silver demand for 2024 is an impressive 1.2 billion, potentially the second highest level ever recorded. And this is driven by strong industrial demand, obviously. And then industrial use at record highs. Silver industrial fabrication is predicted to rise by 4%, and that is 690 million ounces, which is a new record. Photovoltaics and EVs, and the adoption of N-type solar cells and increased electronic components in automobiles. See, there's new uses for silver replacing other metals. So if you think that silver already has a lot of uses, there's new uses for silver every single day. Silver physical investment to decrease. Silver physical investment is projected to decrease by 6%, primarily due to solid economic growth and gains in the U.S. stock market, which reduce investor interest in precious metals, coins, and bars. Global silver supply is on the rise. Total global supply is expected to grow by 3% in 2024, reaching an 8-year high of 1 billion ounces, which is impressive. So this growth mainly attributed to a recovery in mine output. So even with an 8-year high of over 1 billion ounces, we still are in the red. Silver market remains in deficit. Despite increased supply, silver market's forecast to remain in deficit for the 4th consecutive year, though the deficit is expected to ease compared to the previous year. Market expectations and silver investment. So they note that market expectations of U.S. interest rate cuts and a stronger U.S. dollar could temporarily affect silver investment. However, silver's positive fundamentals and the expected future easing by the U.S. Fed are likely to encourage renewed investment in silver. So with these facts and figures in mind, we can add 2 considerations for silver investors. Here's consideration number 1. If we compare the previous news released by Metals Focus, Silver Institute, which is the source, released in November 2023, we see that the confirmed number is 20% higher than the estimated number. That is interesting. Is the market imbalance over 2023 higher than expected? And with the flat silver price, is the undervaluation of silver growing? Which market dynamics are keeping silver prices in check? If you haven't watched my videos recently, I highly recommend you go back and watch my latest video where the Silver Academy is calling out the Silver Institute. The Silver Institute's numbers are very shaky, given they also don't incorporate aerospace and military in their annual numbers, which we talked about already, how much silver is used in military, why that's such a problem. So if you see 1.2 billion ounces, it's much higher than that. So here is consideration number 2. The price of silver should have reacted to the upside with big news of another year in which physical silver market is experiencing a supply deficit, but it didn't. The silver price over 20 years keeps on consolidating around its breakout level. What to make out of this? Well, first of all, that's good news, or the good news is the pattern on this chart is really bullish. Sooner or later, silver will move to the top of the channel. Our forecasted price remains $34, its first price target. Sooner or later, silver will move to $50. And on the other hand, a supply deficit for 3 years in a row with a price adjustment to the upside is not just odd, it's suspicious. I like that. It's not odd, it's suspicious. In this post, Ted Butler, which that's the main source I go to when talking about COMEX corruption and silver's price development and the potential behind it, because Ted Butler has been researching this for many, many years, and he breaks it down in a way that is beautiful, sharing how much potential silver really does have, and how this price suppression truly is a facade and it does not represent silver's true value. So big Development by Ted Butler, sharp increase of 60% in the number of new long traders, 29%, or yada yada. I'm not going to show, well, he's saying this involves collusion. So consolidation number 3, silver's price will take off. Conclusion from above data points are considerations. And then their viewpoint is silver will take off sooner or later. So silver physical investment to decrease. Silver physical investment is projected to decrease by 6%, primarily due to solid economic growth. And they say they disagree, and we might be proven wrong. We feel strongly, very strongly, that market dynamics will change throughout 2024. We expect a sell the news activity, particularly when the Fed will announce their rebalancing act. And not only that, you guys got to remember the presidential election is this year in November. So think about all of the chaos and controversy and dividing of our country when there is economic turmoil, war, people not trusting the government. That is where safe haven assets really do come in play, come in handy. I know it's sad that it takes something like SVB Bank collapsing, literally a bank collapsing, for people to start saying, hey, I should put my money into precious metals, but that's just how it works for most people. So once we see all of this starting to play out over the year, that's probably going to point towards higher investment. And that's not even the main point, though. So I like this article. They did highlight a lot of different points, and it's backed by data, right? They're not just giving a forecast, throwing out random numbers and assumptions. They give a lot of data and a lot of facts. So I really do, I really do enjoy this article, and I think it's something that should be discussed. Now, there is more. There's more. Obviously, demand worries continue to put pressure on silver prices. We could have went over this entire article as well, but you know, it pretty much is saying the same thing. Yes, they talk about Chinese economies dealing with long-standing problems, slowing global demand for its products. So, you know, there is more to the story. As always, the silver rabbit hole is very deep, but this is the meat and potatoes on why silver has so much potential and why the price is held back. Or not so much why the price is held back, but that the price is held back and what's going to come from it. So yeah, anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Remember to subscribe. I'm going to start planning out my 100,000 subscriber giveaway. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but it definitely will be nice. And, you know, I appreciate you all. If you guys wanted to purchase silver, Slayer at milesfranklin.com. You know, I got you guys. We have 100-ounce bars for like $1 something over spot. Crazy prices right now. So, yeah, just remember that I appreciate you guys and that I post daily. So, yeah, anyways, thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.